Everybody, and I hope you enjoyed those conversations with John Johnson and Hudson Mason I had this week. Really fun talking to both guys. A lot of great insight into college football, into the SEC. Now, as we close up the show, let's jump into picks for the weekend. And only 4 games in the SEC this week, so not a long segment here on the pick segment. We're going to start things off with the first game. We don't have an 11 o'clock game either. You couldn't move one of the primetime games into the 11 o'clock slot, or bumped at this 2 o'clock game on the SEC Network down to 11. Oh, no. But here we go. Because you'll be going up against Florida, Georgia. Just kind of don't understand the reasoning that from the SEC. But, anyways, at 2 o'clock, you'll have, and all these times I'll give you our central time. At 2 o'clock, you got Missouri at Vanderbilt. Missouri is 3-4 in the year. They're 0-3 in SEC play, and Vanderbilt's 0-4 at 2-6 overall. Missouri comes in as a 6.5-point favorite. Missouri defense has been bad this year. They're giving up 37 points per game. Total yards are also the worst in the SEC. Both categories, they are the worst in the conference. I'm still a believer. I still think they have one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and quarterback Connor Bazelak, who has 67% completion percentage this year, almost 2,000 yards passing, only 12 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And Missouri has been bad the last 2 games. They lost 62-24 to Tennessee. Their last 2 SEC games, I may say, they had a non-conference game in between these 2. And they also lost 35-14 against A&M. Tennessee went right through them, and look, Tennessee offensively has been good. I kind of have to walk some things back. I said about Tennessee for the year, and A&M seems like they have started to click and get things together. Vanderbilt's just a bad football team. Only 13.3 points per game they're averaging this year, giving up 35. They lost their last game 45-6 against Mississippi State. They had a good chance the game before that to maybe get a win against South Carolina. Lost 21-20 very at the end there. Missouri's a 16.5-point favorite here. I think Vanderbilt will probably hit some plays just because Missouri defense is just that bad. But I also will say this, Missouri's going to put up a lot of points here. Missouri is going to win this game by more than 16.5 points. I think they're going to win this game by probably in the 20-plus range just because offensively they're going to move the ball up and down the field. Like I said, quarterback Connor Bazelak. Vanderbilt's just not a good football team. And I don't think Vanderbilt gets an SEC win again this year. They'll be 2-10 at the end of the year. And this is their best shot at it. Get another SEC win, but I don't think they'll do it. Then at 2:30, you have number 1 Georgia playing Florida. This is obviously in Jacksonville. You heard us talk about this with Hudson Mason a little bit earlier. CBS will telecast this game, and Georgia is a 14-point favorite here. Probably, and you heard also this from Hudson Mason, and you've heard this from other places. 4 quarterbacks are potential to play in this game. When you have JT Daniels and Stetson Bennett on the Georgia side, then you got Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson on the Florida side of things. I don't think Florida's got much shot here. I feel like the first quarter, there'll be a lot of energy from Florida. Look, Florida's not winning the SEC. They're probably finishing 3rd at best this year. So they have obviously no shot at making it to Atlanta. They have 3 losses on the year now. So early on, there'll be a lot of them. They're here playing spoilers. They want to ruin Georgia's season. They want to be the first team to beat them this year and maybe potentially hold them out of the playoff if Georgia would need no loss for it to happen probably. But Florida's playing spoiler here. I don't think Georgia's going to do much here. Just run the ball because Florida showed us in their last game against LSU they cannot stop the run. They gave up 321 yards rushing in that game, 49 points. Look, this is an LSU team that had actually struggled running the ball going into that game. I mean, LSU hasn't been a great running team most of this season, and you give up that kind of numbers to them. And then the Georgia defense, they're only giving up 62 yards on the ground all year. Obviously, that's best in the SEC, one of the best in the country, and only giving up 6.6 points per game as well. So Florida is going to have to create some turnovers. They're going to do something, maybe do some onside kicks, some fake field goals, some fake punts. They're going to have to pull everything out of the hat to even keep this game close. Georgia's favored by 14. I think Georgia wins this game by 20, and I don't think Florida scores 2 touchdowns. I think they'll find the end zone once, but they will not score 2 touchdowns in this game. Then at night, we have 2 games here at night. Like I said, why couldn't you move one of these games down to 11? But we'll leave that alone. Number 10, Ole Miss, who is 6-1 on the year. At number 18, Auburn, who's 5-2 in the year, but only 1 SEC loss for both schools here. Of course, Ole Miss, their 1 SEC loss was to Alabama a few weeks ago. And then Auburn's 1 loss was against Georgia 3 weeks ago. And Auburn is coming off the off week. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Auburn, they are a 2.5-point favorite here. So it really seems like they feel like this is really a pick 'em game. But since Auburn is the home team, let's give them the edge here. I think Auburn wins this game for multiple reasons. One, just give the ball to Bo Nix. And if you want a really, really detailed preview of this game, check out my article that will be up over on Last Word on College Football at 3 o'clock on Friday. So if you're listening to this on Thursday or watching this on Thursday, we'll not see the article yet. But if you wait till Friday, 3:00, it should be up over on Last Word on College Football. But Auburn's coming off the bye week. Ole Miss has had a rough stretch of games. They've played Alabama. They've played Tennessee. They've played LSU. Game at Arkansas, too, as well. They're in a rough stretch. I mean, I'm sure they want a week off, and Auburn is coming off the off week after a tremendous performance against Arkansas, where Bo Nix probably played the best game of his Auburn career. And I feel like Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo are now saying, let's just let Bo be Bo. You don't want to take away the exciting plays he does make. Yes, he's going to do some head-scratching plays, but at the same time, he makes plays at times with the way he plays. So let Bo be Bo. But I also think a key for this game is going to be the Auburn offensive line, because Ole Miss does have really good offense. Matt Corral, who should be, in my opinion, the front runner for the Heisman, or one of them. I feel like they're not going to have enough wins at the end of the year to have him in that conversation, because this is not an award to the best player. It is an award to the best player on the best team, usually the quarterback. I also think Jordan Davis at Georgia should be in this conversation as well, but that's just a whole different conversation. But Auburn is going to need to run the ball to kind of help negate that Ole Miss offense, because Matt Corral is dangerous running the ball. He is their leading rusher this year on 100 attempts. So he has taken a lot of hits. And this Ole Miss team seems like a team that they are dealing with some injuries. They have been over the last couple of weeks. I just think Ole Miss can come to this game. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think Auburn wins 34 to 30 here. But I also feel like Ole Miss, the hits are piling up. The beating they've been taking in some of these games will kind of catch up with them here. This team just needs a break. That's what Ole Miss needs after these stretch of games. So I think Auburn wins this one 34 to 30. Look, for both teams, this is a big game because you're in it. For Ole Miss, you do need Alabama to lose again if you were to win out. If you want to get to Atlanta. For Auburn, just win the rest of your games. You're going to Atlanta. Now, that's easier than it actually is. Saying that is easier than it is, I guess I must say, because you do have to play A&M next. And that's the game. And you heard me talk about this with John Johnson. I think that's the game that's going to hurt Auburn in this thing. I don't think they'll beat A&M. I think they can beat Ole Miss. I think they can beat Mississippi State and South Carolina. Then there's the Alabama game. But just saying, if pull off an upset, and Auburn, since A&M has joined the conference, has been very successful at College Station. Who knows? But I don't think Auburn wins out. But long story short, I'm kind of rambling on here and going off on a tangent. But I do believe with Auburn, they're in a position, especially you win this game, then you got A&M. So everything's still in front of you to potentially play for the SEC championship game against Georgia, which I don't think they would win if they meet it with Georgia. I don't think anybody in the conference is beating Georgia. So I don't think Alabama's making it to the college football playoff, because they're going to get beat by Georgia if they play them in Atlanta. And the last game at 6 o'clock, this will be on the SEC Network. Number 12, Kentucky, who's 6-1, will be at Mississippi State, who's 4-3 on the year. Kentucky comes as only 1.5 point favorite here. I'm kind of surprised, but maybe just because it's a road game. You're going over to Starkville. And look, Mississippi State's got a solid defense this year. I mean, I know they gave a lot of points to Alabama a couple weeks ago. They've not been great, at times, but running the ball, they're not bad. 93 rushing yards allowed a game, which, of course, that's what Kentucky wants to do. They average 190.9 rushing yards a game with Chris Rodriguez. And, of course, Will Levis, at quarterback, is also a running threat as well. But that also could beat you on the outside, wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, which is a big thing for Kentucky, knowing they hadn't had that in a while. Of course, Mississippi State has the SEC leading passer and Will Rogers, but he needs to limit interceptions. If he turns the ball over here, Kentucky will pounce on that one. And then Chris Rodriguez on the other side, the running back for Kentucky, is the SEC leading rusher. Look, I think this game will probably be close for a good bit. I feel like Kentucky will pull away in the end. So I'm going to go with Kentucky Wildcats to win this game. What do you guys think? Of course, you can hit me up on Twitter at PJordanSEC and let me know what you think about these predictions. And that's going to do it for this edition of Talking SEC. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And for the YouTube version, I'm going to post up, which if you're listening to it, that may be Friday for the actual video portion goes up. Got to put some things together to get that up. But if you listen to the podcast and enjoyed it, let me know what you think by hitting me up on there. And then check out on Friday or at some point on YouTube at Phillip Jordan Sports. To check out the video version of the podcast. And remember, you can find a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all your favorite podcast platforms. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe, rate, and review. Leave a review. I will read it on a future edition of the show. And, of course, you can email me also at sports.phillipjordan@gmail.com. Everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy the football. Go check out the Phillip Jordan podcast. Got some news coming up on that one coming here shortly. And I'll talk to you guys later on down the road. Bye-bye.